Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Welcome to my show. Well, as you all know, something like 1 out of 5 adults is now unemployed, which means a lot of them are going to be borrowing on credit cards and taking loans, and that can actually wreck somebody's credit if they're not doing it wisely. So to talk about that today, Lee Kendrick, he is the founder of CreditUturn. Lee, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, with Americans and credit cards, we've been fairly responsible these last few years, but when you lose a job, I mean, everything goes out the window. So give our audience some advice for those people who are, between paychecks right now. Is it dangerous to rack up a bunch of debt on credit cards?
Yes, definitely. You should always try to maintain your credit card balances somewhere in between 1% to 30% of your total credit limit as far as your utilization. So during these times, I mean, sometimes you have to do whatever's necessary in order to get by. So I always tell anybody that's using our services, anybody that I've ever dealt with in the past or currently, that you have to take care of yourself, number one. So don't penalize yourself, don't look down on yourself or think badly if you're having to tap into those lines of credit, or even if you're actually running late right now. Just make sure that you communicate with your creditors, pay something whenever you can. Don't just completely skip, at least talk to them, and it makes all the difference in the world.
We've got a little bit of video off of your website. We're going to roll that right now while we continue our conversation. Your company really helps people repair their credit. How do you go about doing that?
Actually, I would tell you that we have created our own segment out there in the marketplace. We actually don't repair credit. We're not a credit repair company. We actually created a piece of software that allows you to automate the entire dispute process yourself without paying any credit repair fees. We completely despise any companies that are charging people exorbitant credit repair fees. There are companies out there that charge illegal upfront fees that the Fair Credit Reporting Act does not permit, anywhere from $100 all the way up to $1,500 or $3,000 up front. That's illegal, so if a company ever charges you an upfront fee, you should run. There are some other companies that are good actors out there that charge anywhere from $100 to $150 per month, or they'll charge you for each item that gets deleted from your credit report. However, now you actually have a tool and a mechanism in place for you that you just carry around with you on your mobile device that automatically analyzes your reports for you, detects what's been negative on your credit report. It automatically generates your dispute letters. You have full control over all of your disputes, so you can toggle on or off items that you wish to dispute. If you don't like the language of a letter, you can regenerate your letter in milliseconds, and then it automatically transmits everything to the credit agencies for you, and then updates you along the way and refreshes that process every 30 days. So it literally gives you back control. So instead of you spending a couple $100 per month, you can actually control the entire process yourself.
Lee, wow, that's amazing. So do the credit companies get it wrong a lot? I mean, would people be surprised what's on their credit report?
Yes, definitely. There are studies that have shown anywhere from as little as 20% all the way up to more than 80% of all credit files have a serious error that will affect what your loan terms can be, whether or not you're completely declined or whether or not you're paying a higher interest rate. So that's been, there have been numerous studies done over the last 20, 30 years that all corroborate that same finding.
Does your company also help with identity fraud, or if somebody's trying to take out credit on my credit line, will I be alerted through your service?
Yeah, so our service, we're actually a credit monitoring company. We're the world's first credit monitoring company to actually help automate the process of your disputes for you. And we have two different levels of services. One of those service levels actually does alert you whenever there's any new activity on your credit reports, whether it's due to something that you're disputing and there's been an update, or whether there's new activity like somebody has utilized your social security number, or you have a new credit inquiry on your report. And then if you do have some serious identity theft issues and somebody has actually stolen your identity, we actually offer on that service level a $1 million identity theft protection policy that's actually a true insurance policy that will utilize our own white glove services to help restore your credit back to its original state.
I've been watching some of your videos. You've been really giving some great tips during the pandemic of things that people can do. Give us one of your tips.
So one of the tips that I would definitely recommend is get started. Don't procrastinate. I personally feel like at the root of most problems has been a major event that happens, such as a job loss or a divorce, or that you just simply procrastinated. You got some bills in, you didn't have the money, you just left the bills, you didn't even open them, you just left them laying on a counter. You promised yourself that you would go back and check into those as soon as you had some money. Instead of that, just make sure that you're contacting your creditors and or send them something. If you've got a medical debt that you owe, because we never ever know how much something's actually truly going to cost us. You go to a hospital and you think that a service might cost $1,000. Next thing you know, you got a $40,000 bill. Contact them and pay something. Even if it's $5 a month, $10 a month, they can't report you to a collection agency as long as you're doing something.
How about the worst case scenario? The person has been negligent, they're being harassed by creditors, and they say, well, if I don't answer my phone, they can't get me. Is that ostrich, put your head in the sand approach doomed to failure for that individual?
It's usually not a good idea, but I will tell you that we've helped thousands of customers, thousands of app users that have used that mentality, or they've had that mentality in the past, and they've used that approach where they literally just stuck their head in the sand and said, this will pass and this will go away. You need to understand that whenever you've had things occur to you in the past, there's always a different creditor that will give you a second chance, even third chances and fourth chances. You will eventually run out of those opportunities if you don't watch yourself, because there's just a finite number of creditors that are in the marketplace. So many of those have consolidated, where some credit card companies are now owned by one entity. So you have to be careful with that approach, but you can recover.
Wow, this is great advice. Unfortunately, we're out of time for this segment. We're going to put your website up so everybody can contact you. CreditUturn.com is the website. Lee, thank you so much for being on the show.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
All right.